Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice. Here we are going to take up the MCQs based on today's newspaper of The Hindu and Indian Express, which are important from UPSC Prelims exam perspective. The topics for today's discussion are listed on your screen. So let us start the discussion. We have an announcement for you. As a part of Parichya series of 2023, we are going to conduct the first test of GS Paper 1 on 28th and 29th January 2023. You can take this test online or offline. You need to register for the test on elearnraus.com. The Parichya test will help you in assessing the real UPSC competition. It will also help you in assessing your level of preparation and how much more work is required. It will make you familiar with the actual UPSC exam pattern and will help you in developing the exam skills. The live analysis of this test will be conducted on 30th January. The details of the test are in the description. Don't miss the test and give your preparation a decisive edge through the Parichya test. See you on the test day. The first question of today's discussion is based on this particular news, which has appeared on the page number 14 in The Hindu. In this news article, the International Energy Agency has said that the world may face a higher oil demand due to the reopening of Chinese economy, which has put restrictions on its industries due to the COVID outbreak. Now, the context of this news might not be very important as far as our prelims exam is concerned, but the organization which is mentioned here, the International Energy Agency, is important from our UPSC prelims exam perspective, as international organizations and bodies is a recurring theme in UPSC prelims exam. This area becomes important for our discussion. In the year 2018, UPSC has asked a question: in the Indian context, what is the implication of ratifying the additional protocol with International Atomic Energy Agency? In this question, you are being given 4 options and you need to identify what will be the implication of ratifying this particular protocol. You can pause this video and try a hand on this. On the similar lines, we have designed one practice MCQ on International Energy Agency. In this question, you are being given 3 statements, and out of these, you need to identify which of the statements given above is or are correct. The first statement says, it was set up under the framework of OECD in the aftermath of 1973 oil crisis. It is a correct statement, as International Energy Agency was set up after the 1973 oil crisis, and it is an autonomous intergovernmental organization which provides the policy recommendations on the entire global energy sector. And yes, it was set up under the framework of OECD. Hence, it is a correct statement. The second statement says, World Energy Outlook is its biannual flagship publication on global energy projections and analysis. Now, many of you must be aware that World Energy Outlook is a publication of International Energy Agency, but it is an annual report and not a biannual publication. So, this statement becomes incorrect. The third statement says, India is one of its founding members. It is again an incorrect statement. As you can see in the official website of International Energy Agency, the member countries are listed here. And India is one of the association countries to International Energy Agency and not a founding member. So, this statement is incorrect, and the answer to this question becomes A, as only option 1 is correct. The answer to the previous year question is also A, because after ratifying the additional protocol, the civilian nuclear reactors come under IAEA safeguards. Hence, option A is correct. Now, moving on to the next question, which is based on this particular news, which has appeared on the page number 17 in Indian Express. It basically talks about the World Economic Forum's annual meeting of 2023, in which the Union Minister Mr. Ashwani Vaishnav has said that the Indian economy has been resilient and has registered a sustained growth with a moderate inflation. Now, the World Economic Forum is an important international organization which helps in framing the policies for the world economy. Further, the World Economic Forum held its annual meetings at Davos, which is in Switzerland. Let us have a look at the question which has appeared in the year 2019, in which UPSC has asked that the Global Competitiveness Report is published by which of the following organizations? You need to identify the correct option in this question. And on the similar lines, we have designed one practice MCQ on World Economic Forum, which is also known as WEF, And this question says that with reference to World Economic Forum, consider the following statements. The first statement says it is an international, non-governmental and lobbying organization for public-private cooperation. It is a correct statement as WEF is an international organization for public-private cooperation, and this forum engages the political leaders, business houses to shape global, regional and industrial agendas, and it was established as a non-profit foundation. So this statement becomes correct. The second statement says its initiative, the Future of Connected World, mobilizes the international community to drive the change on technology governance. It is also a correct statement as you can see from here, the Future of Connected World is an initiative of World Economic Forum and it focuses on 5 actions to build a connected future for all. The first action is focusing on increasing the education levels. The second focuses on improving security. The third one talks about driving the positive impact. The fourth one says combating inequity. And the fifth one talks about strengthening the collaboration. Hence, it is a correct statement. The third statement says its headquarters is situated at Washington, USA. It is an incorrect statement as the headquarters of WEF is situated in Switzerland and not in United States of America. So this statement becomes incorrect. As we are required to identify the correct statements, the answer to this question becomes B, which is 1 and 2 only. And the answer to the previous year question is C, as it is the World Economic Forum which publishes the Global Competitiveness Report. Now moving on to the next question, which is based on this particular news, and it has appeared on the page number 10 in The Hindu. This news article says that the demands of Jain community, which was protesting on declaring their pilgrimage site as an eco-sensitive zone, which will restrict their movement to that particular place. The protest has been witnessed all over the country by Jain community, and in a recent move by Union government and Jharkhand government, the Samed Shikhar is declared as a religious place, and they have also removed it from the eco-sensitive zone. So it is seen as a victory for the Jain community who have been protesting since a very long time to save their pilgrimage site. As Jainism and Buddhism is a recurring theme in our UPSC Prelims exam, this area becomes important for our discussion. Many questions on Jainism and Buddhism have came in UPSC Prelims exam, and one such question has appeared in the year 2016, in which UPSC has asked that with reference to religious history of India, consider the following statements. In this question, 3 statements which are associated to Buddhism are given to you, and you need to identify which of the statement is or are correct. The practice question which we have designed on Jainism says that with reference to Jainism, consider the following statements. The first statement says the Kshatriya reaction against the domination of Brahmins was one of the cause of origin of Jainism. It is a correct statement as Kshatriyas who functioned as the rulers reacted strongly against the ritualistic domination of Brahmins, and it was one of the causes of the origin of Jainism. So this statement becomes correct. The second statement says the existence of God is recognized in Jainism. It is a tricky statement as many of the times there is a confusion that whether it was under Jainism or Buddhism, the existence of God is recognized. And for your knowledge, it was under Jainism, the existence of God was recognized, but they placed the God lower than the Jana. So it is again a correct statement. The third statement says Jainism attacked the Varna system which made it popular among the lower caste. It is an incorrect statement because it was Buddhism and not the Jainism which attacked the Varna system. And on the other hand, Jainism did not condemn the Varna system. So this statement becomes incorrect. The fourth statement says the religion failed to make its influence in western parts of India where Brahmanical religion was dominant. It is again an incorrect statement as many of you must be aware that there are many pilgrimage sites of Jains in western India. You can eliminate this option from that particular knowledge. Apart from that, Jainism gradually spread into South and West India where the Brahmanical religion was weak. Hence, this statement becomes incorrect. In addition to the previous fact, you must also be aware that the spread of Jainism in Karnataka was attributed to Chandragupta Maurya. And in this question, you are required to identify the incorrect statements. So the answer to this question becomes C, which is 3 and 4 only. Further, the answer to the previous year question is B, which is 2 and 3 only, as the concept of Bodhisattva was central to Mahayana sect and not of Heenan sect. So this statement becomes incorrect. The next question of today's discussion is based on ASER report, which has appeared on the explained page of Indian Express. Many of you must be aware that it is an annual report released by Pratham Foundation to assess the school education system. Now what this report tells us? In this report, the survey has been done on the children in the age group of 6 to 14 to record the trends in school attendance, enrollment, reading and arithmetic abilities. It also gives us an overall view with respect to the school education system, specifically in rural areas. The 2022 report has highlighted that there has been an improvement in the infrastructure facilities across the schools in the country, but a lot needs to be done to improve the skill set among the students across the country. Now, education is an important area under the social sector, and we must be aware about the nitty-gritties associated with this particular report. There are chances that a direct question on ASER report can be asked in UPSC Prelims exam. Now before solving the practice MCQ, have a look at this question which has appeared in the year 2016, in which UPSC has asked about the SWAM initiative of Government of India. From the introductory discussion which we had on ASER report, you must have got an idea that this initiative is related to education. If you go through these options, you will find that the two options which are related to education are option C and D. So, answer must be from these two options. Just apply your common sense and try to solve this question. The practice MCQ which we have designed on ASER report says that with reference to annual status of education report, consider the following statements. The first statement says ASER is led by National Council of Educational Research and Training. It is also known as NCRT. It is an incorrect statement, as we have discussed in the description that ASER is an annual report which is led by an NGO named Pratham. So it is not led by NCRT. The second statement says, in addition to schooling status of children, household information is collected every year. It is a correct statement. The ASER report also collects the basic household information such as household size, parental education, and household assets. So this statement becomes correct. And we are required to identify the correct statements. The answer to this question becomes B, which is 2 only. And the answer to the previous year question is D, as SWAYAM is an initiative of Government of India to provide free and quality education to the citizens of India. Moving on to the next question, which has appeared on page number 12 in The Hindu. It basically talks about the developments which are happening in Cuba. You must be wondering that Cuba has developed 5 vaccines for COVID-19 and it is working on developing the vaccines for cancer, Alzheimer, and Parkinson's disease. And Cuba has a free and universal system for the health needs of its citizens. The scientific inventions on drugs and vaccines important for the welfare of people and preventive health care. Now the diseases like Alzheimer is important for our UPSC Prelims exam because UPSC has previously asked questions on diseases which are happening due to the deficiency of vitamins in human body. In the year 2014, UPSC has asked a question on vitamins and the deficiency diseases related to those vitamins. In this question, you are being given 3 pairs and you need to identify which of them is correctly matched. We have designed one practice MCQ on Alzheimer's disease and it says, with reference to Alzheimer's disease, consider the following statements. The first statement says, it is a neurological disorder which causes brain cells to degenerate and die. It is a correct statement as Alzheimer is associated with neurological condition in which a person loses its memory, finds difficulty in speaking, and face confusion about time and place. So, it is a correct option. The second statement says there is presently no cure for it. It is again a correct statement as Alzheimer's disease currently has no recognized cure. The treatment which the patients are getting, it is basically focusing on to keep their brains healthy, manage their behavioral symptoms, and reducing or postponing the illness. So, at present there is no cure for it. The third statement says, It has been mentioned under Group 1 category in the National Policy of Rare Diseases, and a patient can avail up to 50 lakhs for the treatment. It is an incorrect statement because the Group 1 category of National Policy of Rare Diseases includes only those diseases which can be cured with one-time treatment. And on the other hand, Alzheimer disease does not have any cure, so it cannot be considered in the Group 1 category of the National Policy of Rare Diseases. Hence, this statement becomes incorrect. And in this question, you have to identify the correct statements. The answer to this question becomes B, which is 1 and 2 only. And the answer to the previous year question is A, as night blindness is caused by the deficiency of vitamin A and not by the vitamin E. So, the third pair becomes incorrect. The last question of today's discussion is based on this particular news which has appeared in the text and context page of The Hindu. It basically talks about the protests which are going on in Kerala against the eco-sensitive zones. The protest has started in Kerala because the new structures are banned in and around the eco-sensitive zone, which includes the electric poles, buildings, roads and bridges. Many of the panchayat residents have came on streets to protest against this development, and they are giving the argument that they will be denied better public infrastructure due to this development. The context of this news is not important as far as our UPSC Prelims exam is concerned, but we must be aware what are eco-sensitive zones. The ecological sensitive zones are intended to safeguard the protected areas by transitioning from an area of lower protection to an area of higher protection. UPSC in the year 2014 has asked a direct question on eco-sensitive zones, so this area becomes important for our discussion. As you can see, in the year 2014, UPSC has asked that with reference to eco-sensitive zones, which of the following statements is or are correct. You are being given two statements and you need to identify which of the following is correct. You can pause this video and try a hand on this. The practice MCQ in this regard says, consider the following statements with reference to eco-sensitive zones. In this question, you are required to identify the correct statements. The first statement says, eco-sensitive zones include land strictly within 10 km of boundaries of national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. It is an incorrect statement as areas beyond 10 km can also be notified by union government as eco-sensitive zones. So, this statement becomes incorrect. The second statement says, they act as a transition zone from areas requiring higher protection to those requiring lower protection. It is a correct statement as we have discussed in the description that eco-sensitive zones act as a transition zone. So, this statement becomes correct. The third statement says, activities prohibited in eco-sensitive zones include commercial mining and ongoing horticulture practices. Now, the commercial mining is prohibited in eco-sensitive zones, but the agricultural activities or horticultural practices are permitted in these zones because they play a very important role in the survival of the communities which are living in and around those areas. So, it is again an incorrect statement. As we are required to identify the correct statements, the answer to this question becomes B, which is 2 only. And the answer to the previous year question is D, as both of the statements which are given here are incorrect. The eco-sensitive zones are declared under the Environment Protection Act of 1986 and not under Wildlife Protection Act. The second statement is an extreme statement which says it prohibits all kinds of human activities in those zones except agriculture. The activities which are permitted in these areas includes agriculture practices, rain harvesting and many more. So, this statement again becomes incorrect.